Greetings, human development students. I miss you. I wish we could be together face to face because it would be so much more fun, right? For all of us, I hope. I hope you are all well as you shelter in place. I hope you're not pulling your hair out with kids and all those other things going on. I hope that you are navigating any financial concerns or struggles that you're encountering because of lost jobs and the situation here. If you're still with us in this human development course and you're planning on finishing this class, then I just kind of wanted to take the time to bring a short video announcement to you, talk about what have going on this week and what's happening in the very near future, and make sure we're all on track with what's going on. Okay, so this week will be somewhat of a light week. We have 2 chapters that we're covering. We're talking about, starting to go into that adulthood, middle age range. You will have one activity this week, activity number 9, which is a personality assessment. So this is kind of fun. This is basically you honestly answering questions about how you work or how you think and how you feel. And once you do that, you will come out with some characteristics and you will be able to read a little bit more about those personality traits, what that means for you as a person, as a leader, whatever that be. So that will be your activity for this week. Let me back up a little bit. I want to make you aware that there are some of you who are a little behind in submitting papers, in submitting activities and assignments, in submitting the exam that we just wrapped up, exam number 3. So I really want to encourage you to take this time to get those in. I am trying to leave assignments and exams and papers open as long as I can, because I understand that this is a very difficult transition. None of us signed up to do online learning this semester. So I'm trying to work with you because I want everyone to succeed. So those activities, even though the due date may have passed, they should still be open. And I am not giving you awarding late points for submitting it. I just want you to submit the work. So please, especially exam number 3, get that in. Paper number 2, if you haven't done so, or if you had to resubmit because the format was wrong, please also get that in. Again, look at the activity and assignments that we've had and see if you're missing any of those. The best way to do that is to go to your grades tab and then see what we have there or what you don't have there, basically. Looking forward, couple things going on. So of course you should be filling in your study guide for exam number 4 to prepare you for that. We will have paper number 3 coming very soon. And so you should be hopefully working on paper number 3. I want to take a minute to talk about it. So this, again, as I started at the beginning of the semester, I shared with you that paper number 3 would be you planning what you wanted for your funeral, right? And a lot of you were like, ew, that's weird, that's morbid, I'm only 18, oh my goodness, right? All of that stuff. But what I find is that this is an activity that really kind of pushes you to figure out what's important to you. And so I want you to go into this, again, with the perspective that you're 95 years old. Not that you're 18, you're 25, you're 45. You're 95. You've led a long, full life. At the end of that life, at 95, what do you want to see? Okay. Do you want something very religiously traditional? Do you want something non-religious, non-traditional? What is it? What is important to you? Is it important to you that your friends and family celebrate afterwards? Do you call this a celebration of life? Is it, how do you view this? Who do you want to speak? What type of music do you want? Are you gonna go out with a bang and spend lots of money? Or are we looking to be very minimalistic? Right? There's no right or wrongs in these choices. If you look at your syllabus, it outlines for you what the things that you should cover in this paper. Who's going to deliver the eulogy? And what is the eulogy going to say about you? Is it going to say that you were a nurse for 50 years working in oncology, that you were a parent to 4 children, you have 19 grandchildren, right? Or will it say something that you were a traveling nurse who worked in the armed services, or somebody who traveled the world and explored? When you think about the end of life, what are the things that you want to accomplish at that time? That is what we write this paper. That's the perspective you should have in writing this paper. Now, this paper may make some of you uncomfortable. I am going to say that a lot of things in this class, I hope, have been uncomfortable, because when we're uncomfortable, we grow. We stretch and we learn when we're uncomfortable. When everything is pretty easy and similar or familiar to us, there's not a lot of growth. But when we do a case study and we think, oh man, I never would have, I'm Johnny, I'm not going to marry Virginia, right? But then we have a case study where we hear other points of view and we try to consider the other side of the situation. Your viewpoint may change. It may change, and that's what I want. I really hope that this class and some of our case studies have pushed you to think a little differently, to be open to things you were not maybe prior, because that's growth. And I really hope that you've taken advantage of our conversations and our learning and our case studies, and you've grown. And that's also what paper number 3 does. A lot of people will tell me, this was in order to prepare for paper number 3, I sat down and asked my parents, what would you want for your funeral? Because a lot of times we haven't had those conversations, right? My parents are 80. They're getting close to death. And so I know, because I've sat down with them and I've had conversations with them, I know exactly what they want, because I would rather them make those decisions now while they're living than me make those decisions for them when they're gone, right? And so I think it's a really good conversation starter, right? Now, my goal here, I know that we're living in a really difficult or challenging situation. My goal here is not at all to minimize that some people who are passing at this time aren't able to have a funeral that they may have wanted. Even more so, it should be so important to you to figure out what you would have wanted and to document that. What are your wishes? What are your hopes and dreams for that kind of end of life transition or stage? Do you believe in afterlife? Do you not? Right? Again, your paper should be a minimum of 2 pages. That's a minimum. Double spaced, 12-point font, typed with the cover page, just like your other papers were, okay? Paragraph format, but you should be covering, ideally it'd be great to have headers or to make sure you cover each of the different points that are listed in order to complete the assignment. If you would like to upload that paper early, I'm happy to review it for you, and I could return it to you with some comments on how to make sure you earn full points, or I can just accept it if it's perfect, right? So I want to challenge you to stretch yourself a little bit with this activity, right? Paper number 3. Again, at the end of the semester, I have students on their evaluation tell me that it was one of their favorite assignments to do, because it really did make them learn more about themselves. They learned what was important to them. Okay? So that's paper number 3. I also want to take this time to push you on extra credit. Again, believe it or not, this Friday is May. We're going to be in May. So we are coming to the end of this semester. And so this is a time for you to be considering, do I need or should I do extra credit? And if so, what am I doing? And so please take the time to look at your syllabus or look at the tabs on Canvas that have extra credit, and the different opportunities are listed for you. They can be everything from as simple as watching a movie and writing a 1-page paper about what you learned from that movie, to doing interviews with family members and friends, to doing different activities that would be interesting to you. So I always say, if you're somebody who's looking towards the nursing program or any of our competitive programs, extra credit should be a necessity, because grades are extremely important to get into those programs. Therefore, the difference between an A and an A- is crucial for you. That's just the reality of where we're at. Lots of people want to be nurses, and so therefore the field is much more competitive because of that. So if you want the A, not the A-, you need to do extra credit, because you want to make sure you have enough points to make sure you're in that category, and that's one of the surest ways to do that. So I want to encourage you to consider and pursue extra credit for this class. You can turn that in at any time, but there is a deadline. If you look on our syllabus, there is a deadline to submit your extra credit. Believe it or not, these next few weeks will fly by, and so I want you to be working on that. Okay, so let's see what else we have going on. As I mentioned, we're going to try to do a Confer-Zoom on Tuesday. So I'm going to try it. Unfortunately, I've heard from Delta that we're struggling with Confer-Zoom right now, that students are required to have a password. And so I'm trying to navigate that so that you don't have to go through all that. So hopefully for those of you who can, you will show up on Tuesday and just, log into Confer-Zoom, and hopefully we'll be able to connect. You will still want to watch the videos for your chapter learning for this week, but in Confer-Zoom, what I'm going to do is, I don't know if you can remember some time back, but I asked students to fill out index cards, and they put down different questions on the index cards. And so I've got all those questions here still, and I've got some answers ready for you. And so I thought it would just be a good time to have like an informal conversation. Because we're not in class, this is usually at the end of our case studies or at the end of our learning. I kind of say, anyone have any questions, or what do we think about that? And we can have some dialogue. But because we're not in a class format, we haven't been doing that. So I thought it would be a great time to just offer you the opportunity to kind of hear some questions and answers. And then you can also post some new ones to me, and we can just have some conversation. It can be about assignments or about what's going on in class, or it can just be personal, right? It can be, how do I deal with this stress, or stress management techniques, or things of that nature, right? So let's see if we can do that. I will shoot out another announcement, probably come Tuesday morning with the time and, if what we need to do to make sure you can log on and get into Confer-Zoom. I'm going to go ahead and try to record the session. For those of you who are saying, oh, I'm working at that time, or oh, I have kids and I can't do that, or whatever it is. First of all, I don't mind kids in the background if that's an issue, but if you want to watch it at a later time, it will be posted for you to view. So don't flip out. It's not going to be, I'm not going to award points if you do or don't show up. It's just something that, again, if we want to engage in some good conversation and discussion and see each other, it'd be nice to do. So we will go ahead and pursue that again. Tuesday, I think 7 o'clock is what we said as a time that maybe we could connect on Tuesday. So I look forward to seeing you at that time, and I hope you have a very happy and good human development week. All right, guys, see you on Tuesday.